Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Lily's Journal. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Hello, and here's Caesar Zeus. He wanted to say hi at the last minute. First, he didn't, and now he's here. Caesar, so what's going on today, Cez? Do you want to tell everybody? Huh? You, my beautiful companion. So, we're going to talk today about what's coming up in the alignment of January 12th. Okay, so you guys, welcome to my journal. This is Lily, and this is, as usual, Caesar Zeus, Forge in Eastern Germany. My strong, unbeatable, partner here. So welcome to my journal, everyone. This is Friday. So here we go, you guys. So welcome and happy Friday. I'm going to talk about the magic of this alignment that's happening. This is kind of goes for all of the 2020. It goes together with my predictions that I call them for like eclipse and so on. So this is going to be in a way similar because I'm going to be talking about how to have this shamanic perspective. And here we have this alignment. And what this alignment, Saturn and Pluto alignment conjunction, okay? And so what is that? It's the spark that happens between the energies, or that when the energies ignite, or that when they connect, okay? And so when the possibilities get pulled into reality, I guess. Those are the sort of ways to look at this, all of this methodologicals and all of these teachings about it is actually about our internal self, about our eternal self, or how does our living soul unfolds here in this reality, and how we can unfold our true living soul here in this reality. So all of those mythologies are ultimately, you guys, about soul unfoldment. And this is what ultimately you as a shaman understand, that the reason people get sick, the reason people are not in alignment is because they're not and their bodies are not in alignment, because they're not in alignment with their soul, with their living soul. Their living soul is not unfolding. They're serving some other force than their own living field, that is the true Father God within, or whatever you want to call it. Okay. So here's to Friday, you guys. It's Vino, Friday Vino. It's 17 o'clock somewhere. I mean, it's 17 hours somewhere. 17 hours somewhere. I hope somewhere there is 17 hours. Good evening, GWH. And here's Zuzi wants to say good evening to everybody. Yep. So anyway, you guys, so I'm going to talk about that and how we can use these energies to our advantage, basically, and what it truly means for us. As human beings, what actually it's the other way around. We are the spirit in human form. And hi, Natasha. Zuzi's happy to see you too, Natasha. Oh, see? Thank you for joining me, darling. Thank you. I sent you a text, by the way. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon. I hope so. Anyway, you guys, I'm gonna come back and talk about this. So, you guys, how we can take this energy and this conjunction, and look at it from our own perspective, from that perspective of a human being, and what it is that we do on this magical night, and how it is, and this is also coincides with another one of the Orthodox traditional magical nights that been celebrated in Russia, where I grew up, ever since I know, and it's a very, very magical night, and it's from the 12th, between the 12th and 13th. So the very early morning of 13th is the most potent hour for magic, or the most potent minute for magic, right at midnight. Okay, so that's what happens when all the shamans get together and they read the future. And what happens during that time? This is what I call it, the veil of separation between your spirit and your body, or your vehicle, is open through the portal, through your emotional portal. That is because that's how you operate here. The only full spectrum you have in this body is your emotional body. That there is no limitations. So what you have in there is, this is the night, as I like to call it, this is the night that what my all the babushkas used to say. It's the night that they would do cards, that they would do pendulum, whatever, whoever used whatever tools they would do to predict the future for themselves and for their community. So they usually do the reading for everybody. So whoever is shaman, and if they're not doing anything at that midnight, they're not doing humanity a favor, in a way. Zuzi, he is not comfortable. All right, how about now? Is it better? He's complaining. Can you guys hear him? Yeah, he's also grandpa, like a old German. Imagine that. Old German man. Grumpy. Okay, sorry. Call him grumpy. He doesn't like him. Anyway, thank you guys for the likes of the video. And thank you guys for subscribing. And you know what I noticed? If you push notification, because sometimes I go live at not a scheduled time, and I apologize for that. But if you guys click on my channel notification little thing, then it will, let you know on your thing that I'm going live, so you can join me. But I'm trying to make this sort of at the same time every week now, so this way I can give you guys the ability to sort of at least know when I'm on, if you want to join me live. So thank you, everyone. Aloha, Teresa. Jean, thank you. Woohoo! Yes, we are live. We are literally, that's a perfect thing. We are literally becoming alive. We are resurrecting from the death cycle. And that's what ultimately conquering death is all about, is living. Conquering death is what losing fear, if you look at it, is losing fear of death. It happens when you recognize yourself as eternal being. And that's basically ultimately all of those enlightenment and all of that our ancestors have left for us in the form of the stories, in the form of metaphysical stories and all of that, and metaphors and things like that. They left for us so then we can retain or remember who we truly are at this end times. And this is what I was talking about. This end times is all about us. Is, like I said in that book, it's a meeting ourselves, or as many call it, finding ourselves, or self attainment of enlightenment, or there's so many different words for it. So anyway, this is what sort of we can look at this now. This is like a looking through the death, or what we are going through this alignment is like going through death. Okay, on a collective level for the whole planetary human collective, meaning including all of our ancestors and including all of our future, meaning we're flipping to the other side. Okay, you guys, before I flip into the other side, I'll give you a little a peek into how my thing's going with my box. Okay, my box is doing really good. So for my stones, so here we go, showing you how it's comfy. It's going to be comfy for my balls, for my you see, and so all of that is padded here, padded, and this thing is padded too, but yet still for this little babies over here, but still I'm gonna make pouches for them from this. This is, I'm not done with it, you guys, but I just wanted to share with you a little something because this what been a week I've been working on this. It's not completely done, but I'm working on it. So anyway, this is how it's gonna look. Oh, it's got little on the back here and this little sea shell things. Anyway, so that's my box in process. So thank you, Teresa. Yeah, it's going to be nice. It's really beautiful. When I show you guys that fabric, it didn't really, the camera didn't do its justice. It's really so pretty. Oh my goodness. It just, I hope it comes through this time. It's so beautiful fabric. It's just, mwah. Anyway, so back to talking about this magic night that's coming up, meaning there is a spark between the outer and Saturn, and which controls time, right? Time. And so now it goes a lot deeper. Why? Now you can understand why all the way outer in conjunction with time, meaning time, that time or timeline is flipping. So what does it mean? Some people talk about timelines ending and all of that stuff. Even myself, I've talked about artificial timelines ending, all of them ending, and going space dust, right? So that's the artificial timelines, and that's the graph for 2016. Hi, Ross. Thank you for joining. Hi, Jose. Thank you, Sue. Thank you so much for joining, you guys. So let's talk about that. So what does it really mean for you and how you can do this ritual? So this is where you can consider this ritual, whatever. You can do prayers on that midnight or whatever you want to do. But this is like, I'm going to share with you what it means. And there is a tradition in still that some people hold up to in Russia, to where like first thing in the morning, right? Is that happens on the 13th? Um, what happens is people come first thing in the morning to other people's houses. They go and they throw seeds into their houses, like wheat and and things like that. Just any kind of seeds you find. And then so what happens is, and you get visited by somebody, your neighbors or someone. It has to be a man. I don't know why it has to be, so only men can do that. And then they go and knock into the house on the morning the 13th, and then they throw seeds into the house and then sing a little blessing song. And so that's how it end up. Then after all this time, it reflects in like national traditions and all of that, all of this alignments that are energetic alignments. And and the reason why it's celebrated like on every house has to be blessed in that morning, because this is like this is like a blessing, right? And so it's and so people expect that and are very grateful if their house gets blessed that morning. And if their house doesn't get blessed, that and with the seeds or anything, and then people feel like they are going to have the whole bad luck for the whole year and all of that stuff. So then there's dogma that comes with it. But when we look at those metaphors and all of those teachings that been twisted and turned into dogmas, which is really unraveling right now, which is the separation, as like even it says in the Bible, there's going to be a separation period to where all these dogmas will be falling apart because they're not real. They're not there's nothing that could be self-attainable, like I said. And this is why I make fun of those, that are still waiting for aliens to save them, because they just, they look so dumb. To those that know that the secret to life is self-attainment. It's not the baddest, biggest, most intelligent something, anything outside of you. And so that's when you step into your own hero journey, meaning your self-discovery, and then you know that you have to grow within yourself to get there, where so then you can change your own reality. And that's basically what it is. And we're just stepping into this on the collective level. We're stepping into this on the collective level. In which way? We're stepping into collective level healing, meaning we're going to start unraveling these things and the dogmas on the collective level. And especially when you look at Saturn and what death cult has to do with it. So this is just kind of look at it that way, because if you take that extreme, and you guys more than anyone know how people take that dogma to the extreme. Why is that? Because they're being driven by fear. And who's driven by fear? The technological strand DNA and those beings that are not moving into life because they're worshiping death. How can they move into existence of true trinary field of life? They can't. Spice, dust to dust. Like I said, it says so in the Bible. They should have read the book. But what does it mean for you guys as a shaman? Because now it's like, look at it as though you are now stepping into your power. This is going to be humanity stepping into our own evolution. And that's basically what it is. We're going to be starting to take responsibility. And through that, we're going to be, the cleaning process of collective consciousness will continue. It's going to continue to unravel. And what I was saying is that by 2021 or 2024, we're going to get to the point where we're going to have more than 10% of collective human consciousness on board of living, expressing, meaning, I said there, it's just existing, meaning what? Expressing through the living field, meaning unfolding through the living soul of who they are. And this is what so much of dogma is actually designed to turn you away from, right? As I talk a lot about that, you guys, how dogma out there and how all this copies, because the only thing is some of these beings, it seems though they have soul, but it's just a quantum copy. And if that computer doesn't operate, okay, so this little computer over here that's incarnated here on planet Earth, and so what happens when you that this thing goes, the strings go and it goes vegetable. Do you understand what I'm saying? So think about that. So it's like the spark of light, because when you look at Saturn, the darkest of the Saturn energy, explore that, what it means. And like I talked about, as a shaman, you have the ability and capability, which are those quantum abilities that you are developing as a shaman, meaning you are allowing the super mind, which is your universal mind that connects you to the living field of all reality. That's this local universal mind is what you are now accessing as that pillar of creation in this reality. So you're accessing that energy. So think of it then, like I said in the past, how you can use these energies of right now, bringing a spark of light to the darkest of the darkest in this reality. How do you feel as a shaman about this period? This is what I've talked about in the past. You either feel like your reality will you'll start seeing justice in your reality, right? But if you are going space dust, you will see judgment in your reality. But if you, so that you can say, okay, well, what am I operating on? Am I operating on myself? Is my reality, like I said, is it self-generated here? Is it, or is it not? And so when you're in harmony with your own joy, and this is what I'm saying, by recognizing that you yourself, a unique expression of that universal mind, but your unique expression in here is this human form. And so this is what I say, you are in human form. And so what do you do on things like that? There are alignments within you too. So when you work here, and so this is what I said, that when what babushkas did, all these grandmas, that believed in all this stuff, they used to do it with the, in the basement with the little, so no communist police could ever see anything like that happening, because they wouldn't let that happen either. So, with the little candle in the basement, scary. So what it's setting intent, it's praying, it's doing all of that, and doing it in quiet places in the middle of the night, in within yourself, or just with your few trusted people, to where you combine your own power together, so then you can then amplify that, because everything which you do in here, everything, hi Daniel, everything you do in here reflects in the collective of human consciousness. Because if you recognize yourself as that 10% of human consciousness that is woke, or that recognize their own self and their own power to create, because that's ultimately where it's leading you, that this transformation and all of that, you're ultimately meeting your own higher self, meeting you're becoming true God, you becoming the son of God. So that son, inner son, as I talk about the inner son, then is, so think of it as a spark, as the when the baby first and some people say when that act happens, when sperm meets the egg, and this is what happens when the universal soul, or the seed, gets seeded, meaning the soul gets seeded, the true soul, living soul gets seeded. It's like it's the spark of light, like an atomic explosion that happens. And so this is basically what you recognize, that it's happening within you. And I talked a lot about the waters and what it is, and the power of water, and how powerful water is. And then again, through this astrological conjunctions, you guys can reflect on how it reflects within you, because it reflects within your waters. And that's the universal spark. Absolutely, Zur. That's the universal spark. And this is what I talk about, the souls are different kinds of souls, because on Earth, here locally, and this is where this invasion, like I said, only took root here on Earth, right? And so, but yet, and this is again, like you said, sir, each cell is a galaxy. Absolutely. And we are those universal seeds. So we are gods in human form, like it or not. But the sooner you accept it, you guys, those of you that truly understand what I'm talking about, the sooner you accept it, the easier it's going to get for you. The sooner, because as long as you're going to reject self, because this is what, hi, aloha, Jeff. Aloha, thank you so much for joining. This is sort of reflect on that. So when you do this, and so no matter where you are, so I just give you an example of my culture, but I'm giving you that because there is so much dogma that goes with it too. And I think this is a lot of that, the 13 and the number of 13, the dogma that goes with that. Okay, so you guys have to understand why too, because everything gets flipped inside out and then turned upside down. So it seems like, when you just turn it inside down, or you notice one or another, and then you just undo it, there's still, and this is what you call it, a layering of energies. But when you just project from your own point of view, you'll just see straight through it. And this is how you can see and recognize the energy for the frequency. It's like hearing an instrument be playing out of tune. So when I hear people talk, sometimes, and then I say, I can, I can follow and trace their energy signature. Because why? Because I hear they're playing out of tune. And you might say that I can also hear how. Like I have sort of that understanding of how, yeah, like it hurts. Teresa, you said it hurts because it feels wrong. And you know exactly, because you yourself know how to play that. So you know then where it's wrong, right? Because if you know exactly how to play the song, then when somebody else is playing it and they're playing it wrong and they're out of tune, then you know. This is the knowing within. So that's the only way you know. And this is why I laugh sometimes, because there's a saying said that those who cannot do teach. And that's why our our educational system is such a mess, such a horrific mess, is because those that could not do taught our children how to do. So our children do it inside out, upside down. Then with them, this is what's going on. Hi, Comfort. Hi, darling. Thank you for joining. So this is what happens. So I remember with the education system, it's so funny. When my son in school used to get in trouble for not submitting, he would do like weird stuff. He would decide that he will speak in a Russian accent the whole class and like the whole day or something. He'll decide he'll do that. And so one of the teachers kept telling him not to do that. And then she said, okay, you're out of school. You're suspended. So they call me. I go pick him up. I go pick him up. And I said, hey, how can I reward you, my dear son, for being so strong? It was his thing. He wanted to speak in a Russian accent. He did so good too. And that was his thing. He didn't do anything wrong. He just spoke in a different accent that he chose for that day. And that was wrong. They didn't like that. But so I took him to a restaurant, to a movie, or something like that. So that's funny. But anyway, I tried to teach him being a rebel. I don't know. We'll see how that works out. It's working out really good so far. Anyway, memories are floating in. That's the other thing, you guys. A lot of memories will return with that spark, because it will ignite your memory of who you are. So be open to some really interesting stuff that you're going to remember after this. This sort of opens up the other side. And this is what I talked about, is this is what gives you the clarity to see your origin, or to connect to your ancestors, or connect the past with future in a way, on your personal level and the community. Don't forget this day or this magical night, because it's magical. It's everything which you create, what you initiate, what you begin. It will take a circle. It will take which you ignite, which you fire up. And this is what I say, how to, this is why I talk about and how to magnetize your aura. And this is how you actually create magic, is you magnetize your own aura through feelings, and through your emotional body, through your waters, because the waters is the strongest element. And it is also the spiritual element. It is also the multidimensional element. So you magnetize through that your aura, because you have the most, because you are more than 70% water. So here you go. You have, even if you're doing a real physics and real math, right? you can still you do that in the same way. You can say, okay, I'm 70% water, so when I'm magnetizing my waters, or when I'm what am I transmute, and it trans what it's transmute not transmute transforms, no, not transforms. It basically, what, electricity goes the fastest through water, right? So you're electromagnetic being, right? So what happens, and what I say, magnetize with that conscious mind, meaning you got to do as a shaman things that you got to do for your mind to put you in that state, into that spiritual state. But on this night, what they're saying is that what I'm saying is, what happens is that that night there is no veil of separation. So whatever you think goes there. So imagine that. So whatever goes there, boom. And so this is why it's like all right, Russ, you had a question, and Brian, you too had. Hi, Brian. Thank you for joining. When you were there while people were eating babies, did you see them before they were killed? I don't know what you're talking about. Did I see them? I don't know. Well, let me tell you, Brian, what I see sometimes when with those things, because yes, I've had been like I said, all of my life I've been able, and it's a spontaneous type of thing, but I'm capable of tracing energy and then seeing it, like, and you would see it's remote viewing. You could say it's remote viewing. True, but I call it just tracing timelines, and because I go into timeless space, and then I just trace timelines. They're all available there to me in that space. So this is what happens sometime, and then I think I've talked about this before. I was growing up in the Soviet Union, and the oppression was, the communist oppression is so horrible. Like, they wouldn't allow Michael Jackson's songs to be played anywhere. So it was on the black market only, where you could buy like Michael Jackson's songs, like a tape or something, where somebody, um, and so, but what happened is, I was young still, very young, so I was still very, how to say, my mind was a little bit more capable of that. So what happened is, when I heard a song, Michael Jackson song, Black and White Keys, I think that's the song. When I heard it, what happens is, there's a moment there that happiness for me on that time, is that as he's singing, then I go into that alignment, and I go into and then I can see from that timeless space, and then I look back through his voice. I don't know how to else to explain, but at the frequency, the sound, and then allows me to see on that level, and then his sound of his voice then showing me things. I don't know how to tell you. And this other, and so he showed me on that time all the ritual abuse and some other things that he allowed me to see it through his eyes, things that were happening on that time. And then I went back to as far as he was 5 years old, and to the ritual that happened in California, I think it was. And so and this how things could happen. And then of course, you know, that was an experience that was out of this world for me on that time. So by that time I learned not to speak about my experiences like that. So I just kept it to myself until all these years later, because I didn't even know, you know, what it meant on that time and why I saw what I saw and all of that stuff. So yeah, when I trace things like that, Brian, and most recently is some of the things what I can trace, and like I talked about some of these people in alternative media that are there, and I told you guys that a lot of them are not what they are. So a lot of that is, and a lot of this is part of my mission, is that when I listen to these people, that's how I can ask my higher self to take me there, so I can find out where the source of what's going on there and what's going on. And so sometimes I'm driven to you know, go and see what this or that people do or say, and my spirit guides me and I trust it. And then most recently, like I told you, what happened is that I was tracing some suicide rituals that were initiated through network. And that was last year, you guys. So that happened kind of in the same way that it happened with Michael Jackson for me too, where I, you know, I heard somebody speak, and then I traced where that went, and then all of a sudden, then, but this time I did not see the past like with Michael Jackson, but I saw the future, what's going to happen, and that there was suicides that will happen, and that this group was here organizing that because they needed a sacrifice for, you know who. And so and they had their Ponzi's or Patsy's or whatever, you know, the thinking 777. I'm Michael Kavanaugh. I'm a thinking 77 programmist. Special. So yeah, they, you know, so I end up, you know, tracing multiple people being involved in all of that thing, and eventually it did happen, and that sacrifice took place and everything. It's all still fresh, and I'm still working through all of that. But what happened is, it's like, it's, you just see it like it's happening right there, and what's going on and all of that stuff. So this is why, you know, it's just like I can't commend that. But this is only because I trust that it has something to do with the higher purpose or whatever it is that needs to do. You can't teach that, Stephen. You can't teach that. It's the gift that you have to develop on your own. And it starts with you searching it from within, because it can only be given to you from within. It can never be given from an external source. And that's just what it is. And so you know, I share what my experiences with others, because I also understand that this is helpful for a lot of you guys. So I'm so glad that it is. So I'm just sharing. Hi, Mark. Um, it's a gift from universe. In like I said, I look at us here, and as those that master the living energy within. And then what it is the living energy, then you can create the living reality, and that's what we're. And then, so somebody talk about, so what happens are the souls are quantum copies that are earth souls. Yes, there are quantum copies, but they're quantum copies of human beings. So think of it is that they have capability, right? They have capability, but I think that genetic manipulation by some of the races here on Earth. So what happened is the genetic manipulation that happened here, and this is why I say the body here is invaded, because this invasion is local. Okay, so but the copy cannot overtake or reprogram an original on quantum level. And this is where the power lies for those that recognize that they're originals. Okay? So this is why those that are of this structure, what I said, that copy, they're a technological genetic structure DNA, they're a copy, like a quantum copy, genetic copy. So it's a DNA copy. Okay? So if I don't know if you guys know, I talked of the people that consider themselves the owners of this reality are those that have this third strand that is technological in nature, meaning it's a copy. It's not original. And maybe when you go back and wanted to try to understand from a spiritual perspective, I talk of it that they do not have biological structure anymore available to them. They're genetic because they blew their own physical planet. So smart. Oh, so smart. They're so special. Right? And that's what I'm saying. I like making fun of them. Have you noticed how narcissists can never get real humor? Okay, because it's them that we're making fun of. So, anyway, oh my God, 46 minutes. So, you guys, this is what I think what we need to look at is that once you recognize your own powers, when you stand in your power, and this is the thing, this is why I talk of this, even use this alignments, this conjunctions, this moons. There is a wolf moon coming up. Okay, wolf. All right. Don't my wolf mutt. Another besides Zeus, I have a wolf mutt. My black wolf. That's his nickname, Wolfie. But anyway, he put his up. He like put his head up. Thought that I was calling him. So look at all those energies. Now, if you like nature, now look at wolves and draw those abilities. This is what Egyptians were saying, and this is how they were explaining to you. And this is why in the pyramids you see a lot of the animals things, so you can draw those powers or those because it's in your genetic code. So that intelligence, so what you can do is you draw on that intelligence. You draw on your own owl intelligence. You know, you don't create an owl cult like a retard or an idiot would do, right? A divine idiot would do it everything on the outside. They would create magic on the outside, but on the insides, it's all done. Like I said, you know, in the old times, when they used to do magic and the little bird would disappear from the cage, what they would do is they would just smash the bird and the bird would just die. That's how they disappeared the bird. This is how they disappeared all the shamans too. From this you know, from this reality. So everything, it reflects everything else because of this copy. So but this copies now, because it's a copy, it doesn't have that original program. So it's the copy cannot reprogram itself to be original. Do you see what I'm saying? How important it is to know who you are and how important it is to develop your own quantum abilities. So then why? So you can use them, darlings, my shamans. So use those quantum abilities on this midnight from 12th going into 13th. Because whatever you spark up in that quantum field right there, that's your reality. So whatever you spark up for your collective, that's where you're going to be. Because you are part of collective, like it or not. And I don't like that word, so I like to use it sometimes. You are part of totality of human consciousness. And so, you guys, just give yourself, and like you guys say, how it's to do this. Trust yourself. Trust no one, as Sun Tzu would say, trust no one. But I would say trust yourself only. You, it's at the core of you is you. So the spark of you is within you. And this is what I talk about, that igniting the spark right now, and what the path for this year, the path of resurrection, is just meaning, in other words, becoming you. You're going to become you, meaning all the dogmas, all that is no longer serving the living spirit that is you. That which no longer serves the human consciousness that is striving for its best potential, that is entering evolution of consciousness. All of that, let it burn, let it burn, let it burn, and rise like a phoenix. And that use the burning to really burn, to bring you up higher and higher, so you can fly, rise, so you can rise. So the more you burn, the higher you rise. And that's pretty much sort of the path for 2020. So that spark ignites, but when you put a spark on the fire to create a fire, if there is nothing there to light up, to turn into fire, that spark will go nowhere. It will go nowhere. There's nothing to light up. And so this is why I say so much that for you guys that are still here and you know what I'm talking about, you've done your work. You've done your work, and there is so much now there. There is a lot of wood ready to burn. Burn, baby, burn. And then you rise and rise and rise. So happy full wolf moon, Natasha, darling. It's going to be, so yeah, draw on that, but it's within you. So now what does wolf? Wolf can see heat signatures. That's why wolf can hunt in the snow, and there is no hiding in the snow. Disco Inferno, I love that. That song, Laura, I love it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, Mark. So a lot of burning going on, right? You guys see it in the current affairs and things like that. A lot of burning up going on. But watch things just be unfolding in its own sort of way, and justice. But of course, it's going to be judgment for those that are operating on the fear foundation. And that's why you will see those people, like I said, couple of couple of journals before you guys, I said something about people acting a little weird. Oh boy, aren't they becoming really, really just, I mean, just pitiful. Just pitiful. Some of my, what to call them? Oh, my favorite clowns, I guess. Divine idiots. As I call them. Some of my favorite divine idiots. Well, he's not even my favorite divine idiot, but Thomas Williams, truth, honor, and integrity. Oh my God, that guy lost his mind. He is threatening people. It's just, it's unbelievable. It just, wow. Wow, Thomas. Wow. Just, I mean, to me, it's funny. It's so funny. Full diaper Thomas, huh? Stinky. Oh, so stinky. But it's Lily's fault. Unbelievable. These people will lose their shit, and they'll lose their shit online. And you guys will get to watch it. So enjoy, laugh, have some popcorn ready, because these divine idiots are going to be throwing that shit from their diapers at each other pretty soon. Enjoy the show. Oh my God. I'm loving this because it's just, to me, it's funny. To me, it's funny. Because we're rising, you guys. We're rising. And that's why everyone else is nervous. And it's, they're going to blame you because they're experiencing judgment. And that's their experience. And I never hit that. The judgment's not going to, oh, it's not going to happen. Oh, yeah, it will happen. It's happening already. And so, yeah, Russ, laughing is actually, it's a great way to change your emotional state immediately. So when it brings that, it lightens the subject up. So that's why when I talk about them, I immediately laugh, because they're so serious, because they're operating from fear, and they're so desperate. And like I said, they're enveloped, their aura is enveloped in this, like a coat of misery. And you guys all know that misery loves company. And they can't, and that misery, you can't challenge them with the individual power, because as soon as you do, that misery immediately gets all, and this is their shield, is the misery. Actually, they think they're shielded. So, and their misery is what drives them, because the misery is what then stays in anger and all of that stuff, but pretends to be like, oh, I'm doing this for the good of humanity. Oh, I am ripping you guys up. Thomas Williams. Oh, dear THI members, I'm so special. Let me tell you, if you give me $1 a month, I will take that against your soul energy. This is what they do. You have to pay for giving them your energy. And you have to pay money on top of that, because it's debt system. So I'm here to save the planet, and the Universal Council is here to save the planet. They're here to save the planet. How do we save the planet? Oh, I'm just another Greta. I'm another Greta. How do we save the planet? $1 to me, to my foundation. This is how we save the planet. Right, Thomas Williams? This is how we save this reality by giving you $1 a month? Divine idiots think that it's, Lily, how can you make fun of me? How you make fun of me? I am here to have so much power. I'm a universal council. Really? Really? Your universal console full of diapers are full and stinky. That's how much of universal console. You're a universal idiots. That's who you are. Greta. Oh, let's collect money so we can save the planet. That's smart. Oh, so smart. But he's so special. The universal console picked him because he's so special. You see the intelligence of these people? And then there is Randy Morgan's, and then it goes on, and here's your Carrie Cassidy and the whole enchilada. And the whole Scamalot Productions. There you go. Special. And here comes what? Who? Wilcox with his special aliens. Special aliens. Caesar. Look at here. Zeus. There you go. Forged. Right, Zeus? Gods are forged, not made. All right, you guys. I've been here for over an hour. This was a lot of fun. Thank you, Russ. This is so they're so ridiculous. My God, you guys. The stupidity of these people. The stupidity. I'm Thomas, Randy, and all of you over there. Aliens gonna save us. Aliens are gonna save us. You agree with David Wilcock? Great, Laura. I agree with him too. I agree with him too that if he didn't give the money to those aliens that were threatening his life, that would probably killed him, because all those aliens wanted in 2011 was money, and that's exactly what they want right now. Money. So Thomas Williams is collecting money, and so is everyone else. Is collecting money for aliens, because I agree with him too. If he didn't pay those aliens, his ass would have been killed. Yeah. I agree. Oh, you agree? Yeah, I agree with him too. Oh my God, Thomas Williams is not just full of shit. He's full of universal console shit. Babylonian bullshit. That's what he's full of. They're all full of Babylonian bullshit. Just wait till you find out all the connections between all of them. They're not media. Not one of them is media. They're all agents. Club idiots agents. Club idiots agents. Kim's diaper is the fullest right now. But Rihanna, I'm not sure. Oh, Teresa, you asked about that lady, Asset, right? It's that lady that does her talks, right? Is that the one you asking? Greta. Greta. There is many Gretas out there that say, oh, money will save us. Here's Thomas Williams. Here's more of those divine idiots, that are out there. What do I say to her? There's nothing. Sharon Beans, what can you say? She's a product of MK Ultra. I can guarantee you, abused on all levels. And actually, people that are standing behind her and supporting her are the abusers. So this is what's going on. So the abuse cycle is trying to protect itself by putting their abused over there and on the, creating a charade for them. Okay. And so this is what's going on. So it's the abused. So actually those people and her parents should be in jail for the abuse of their child, because they've she's underage and she's full of propaganda. So she's a product of communist propaganda, which is crimes against humanity. And USA is the only country that is still standing if the Constitution will stand, which is standing still, like it or not, but the Constitution is standing in USA. Forget about it. Forget about it. You ain't scum communist getting America. It ain't gonna happen because the forefathers foreseen this, and there's safeguards that have been put in place. Okay, and that's why they can never break that, because those contracts and those agreements were made with the land. The Constitution is made with the land and not the corporation. That's the agreement, okay? So those people that tell you otherwise, they're doing this for a very specific reason. So it will stand. It stands. And what does it mean is freedom of the soul expression. That's what it protects. So forget about it. Forget about it. Nobody fucks with America. I'm going to tell you that much. Right. It is made with the spirit of the soul. And then this is, you got to know into why the Constitution and the natives, how they were involved and all of that stuff. It's biblical, basically, you guys. It's biblical. So it's the roots it goes even beyond. So this is why it will never stand here, and this is why this is the beacon. So this is why it starts here. This is why the cleaning up started here. And so this is why it's going to continue. So thank you guys. So enjoy this beautiful night that's coming on, and keep in mind the collective and humanity and all of that. Love you guys. Until next time, I'm going to go here. I'm being here for more than an hour. But it's been an interesting topic, you guys, and we can come back to it. But you'll see all the dogma and all the things falling apart. And we're just going to guys, stay strong, laugh about what you can, cry about what you can cry about, and just let it go, burn it away, and bright, bright, bright future. Bright future for all of us. For all of us. So may that spark be very, very bright in each and every one of you. So Zuzi wanted to say bye too. Here's to all of you. This is the old Russians called it old new year. So this is a new year thing. So happy new year to a very ancient timeline. Bye everybody.